Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor in Paradise, a guy's review. Happy hump day. We've got some questions this morning. What happened in the hotel room, Ivan? Tell us what went down. Get out the lie detector test. We've got a he said, she said sort of situation. But we got the truth. We can handle it.
Can't handle the truth.
Let's get into the truth here. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget, new stand-up comedy sets on my patreon.com/Dave Neal, plus all the behind-the-scenes live streams. All right, so what happened in the hotel, Ivan? Before they could even print the story, Reality Steve gives us the breaking news. We have the information of what went down, who it went down with, and what that means for Ivan. All right, so let's just catch everyone up. Wells asked Ivan, so if you didn't watch, last night's episode, kind of a dud, not too much going on. A bunch of couples decided they would say they're starting to find feelings that may exist in the realm of love, but I'm not really sure. No one wants to say, I love you. Just say, I love you. You know what I mean? No one wants to say that on national TV. It's like, say it on the count of three. 1, 2, 3, I'm starting to love you. Are you loving me? Let's get into it. So that's we only got a couple of episodes left. Storylines dwindling down. Ivan, just like a zombie, cannot be voted off the island, can't be killed. There he is, just surviving, even though he hasn't really had much of a relationship with anyone except Jasenia. She left him for Chris Conner, and he left her for Atlanta. Weird times, folks. So they have to evacuate the beach due to a tropical storm. And they make a big deal of it. We got to evacuate the beach, big deal. Like, don't panic. And everyone's like, we're going to panic. Girls are packing their hair straighteners. The guys are like, trying to look for their, pre-workout powder, whatever the case may be. And then it goes radio silence, and they just pick it up the next commercial break, coming back from the hotel, and no one filmed anything that happened. And I understand why. I work in film. I get it. They took an insurance day. They said, cut, we got to go. Even though these are non-union, unpaid, or I guess in this case, they're paid $400 or $500 a day. They're non-union. They don't have any rights. They don't have any employee rights other than your basic whatever. But the camera crew does, and they get paid on insurance days. They get paid to just shut up and go back to the hotel and ride out the storm. So they're not filming. You can't just pick up a camera and film. You got to there's a whole thing that has to happen. So they didn't film anything at the hotel. They probably didn't have contracts or clearance or consent, all those things. The triple C's. So we find out that Ivan might have done some nookie, might have lanced his bast, caressed his burgess, maybe hit his bong on top of his little John. He could have done all those things back at the hotel, but with who? It's implied it's Chelsea. Let's find out if it was Chelsea. Ivan, do you have anything to tell me? Wells asked. I shouldn't have gone around the system, Ivan replied. Love makes you do weird, crazy things. He says love makes you do weird things, but how about not having a chance to clean the pipes on your own? Makes you do some weird things. Cut to Chelsea Vaughn, whom Ivan was certainly cozier with post-storm. The promo was edited in a way that suggests something may have happened at the hotel between Ivan and Chelsea while the cameras weren't around. Are they going to get into it, or are they just going to gloss over it? We're not sure, but we're going to get into it right now. So if you don't want to know this information, now is the time you check away. But of course you want to know. You're ravenous, diehard fans. It would explain a lot. When Aaron saw the two of them kissing, Chelsea and Ivan, he seemed taken aback by their sudden closeness. He's never talked to her one day in his life until today, Aaron said. Perhaps Ivan took advantage of the time the cast spent away from the beach to progress a relationship with Chelsea. Well, that's not exactly the case. Ivan most likely was into Chelsea for whatever reasons he might be, but probably because he's rose hunting, because Chelsea has a rose, and he needs it. Give me that rose. But let's say that Ivan did use his time during the evacuation to try to make a connection with one of the women left on the show. He called it going around the system. But it's not the first example of this season. Piper James and Brendan were seeing each other before Paradise even started, and yet they both came on the show to further their connection, gain followers, etc. All of these people know each other outside of the show, so it's way too easy to ignore the system and take matters into your own hands. The question is, how is he able to communicate with others if they're put in their hotel rooms, they're probably provided room service, they're kind of told, sit down and shut up. So how is he able to communicate? We don't know this, but this would be like the funniest or most boring action movie of all time, like a guy just trying to get laid in a Radisson Inn during a storm. So anyway, let's get into it. Was it Chelsea who he went around the system with? No. Here's what Reality Steve had to say. First off, when they had to evacuate because of the hurricane and go to the hotel, it was only for one night. They came back the next day. However, That night is where Ivan broke protocol. While they were supposed to be sequestered or stay in their own rooms, Ivan snuck over to Alexa Cave's room, contestant on Peter's season. I know you're looking through your binders full of women. You're like, your charts. What? Peter's season, go to the P's. No, not Colton. Go to the... and hung out with her all night long. Producers found out about it and busted them. Alexa was set to come on the show late, but once they got caught, she was never allowed on, and Ivan ended up getting kicked off the show. Not sure how Ivan found Alexa's room, but that's what happened. Ivan gets kicked off the show because of this. This feels like high school, like when you're on a band trip and did they ever do this to you? You'd stay in a hotel room on a band trip or, whatever, trip you're doing. And they used to put tape on the outside door. That way, if you open your hotel room, they would know because you couldn't close it and also be in at the same time unless you're like scaling the roof or whatever. Hey, kids will do crazy things, but it's like they're grown adults sneaking around trying to get a little nookie. I get it. If everyone's hooking up off camera, the show doesn't have any content. I totally get it. It reminds me of the Truman Show when Truman finds out that he's being filmed and his whole life's a lie and he's trying to like ride out the storm and go be a normal human. Ivan just wants to be a normal human. He can't find love on the beach, so he needs to find it at the Hilton Gardens Springs Center, whatever it's called. All right, let's go to the top comments here. See what you guys have to say about all of this. It's kind of a fascinating story. Well, that explains why he kept mentioning waiting for more girls to come. Sounds like Ivan's been waiting for girls to come for a long time, and maybe that's why he's single. Who really knows? You know what I mean? Pleasure them first. All right, if the producers of The Bachelor wanted the most dramatic season ever, they would have taped and aired busting them. Release the hotel tapes. Release the hotel tapes. Like I said, chances are the cameras were all packed away and they were off the clock. Although that would have been hilarious. Break that fourth wall and be like, just show these grimy little hotel. I'm sure they're in a nice hotel, but either way, it would have been very funny. Because obviously the crew has to sleep at this hotel. Like the crew's just not up 24 hours a day. People don't realize this. They're shooting a TV show, right? So how many hours a day can they shoot? 12? They could have two separate crews, a morning and an afternoon. But chances are they got shifts. They got people coming in, coming out. I feel bad for Ivan. He really thought he and Jasenia were going to be an endgame couple and think he's just gotten increasingly desperate. That being said, I understand why the producers of The Bachelor was so irate. What he did was not wrong in any moral sense, but he went behind their backs to establish a new storyline, and that's literally trying to do their job and take it away from them. As we've seen with other contestants who've walked onto the beach with their own narratives they've written out for themselves, it's not something the producers tolerate in any way. Yeah, while the producers don't tolerate this is like a snitch in the mob, you know what I mean? You're going to break your knees, kid. While the producers don't tolerate this, there really is no moral dilemma because he wasn't dating anyone at the time, right? He was just looking out for himself. He was just having some nooks. Yes, except they totally let this kind of stuff happen on Bachelor Bachelorette. Contestants going to see the lead in their hotel, even though it's technically not allowed. I feel like it would have been more interesting to bring her on and then see people find out about it, or see Ivan leave because he didn't get a rose and have her show up and decide to leave since he was no longer there. I don't know. I think it's just silly with all the other rule breaking. I agree. I don't see, they must have realized they didn't have enough shooting days left to film this storyline. So here's Alexa Caves, Peter's season. Here she is. Doesn't really have much affiliation with Bachelor Nation, as far as she's not one of these like every other person commenting is a Bachelor person. But beautiful, sounds like a nice person nonetheless. I always, after a season's over, I try to forget as many people as possible, so I don't remember her or anybody that matter. I don't even remember Peter from Peter's season. Got to have a friend there. Always need a friend to put that's the good stuff. If I put this on, my skin would burn off. This is the gold bronzer thing they got going on there. Anyway, so any other photos with Bachelor Nation? I hope we have the right person here. Pretty sure we do. Oh, there it is. Here it is. Here. Now we found it, folks. How old is this? 89 weeks ago. The three things going through my head. How did I get here? Damn, he fine. Lizzo, give me strength. Man, she really is gorgeous. How did he let her go? So Ivan, listen, as far as Ivan might be accused of being a little boring. He's an engineer. He's kind of, people say milk toast. That's the term they use. The guy's a go-getter. All right. He's over there in a Motel 8, knocking on doors. Alexa, Alexa, Siri, Alexa, just like looking for random people. People's Alexas are going off, and he's just looking for some love there. He caved for the love. Alexa caves, that is. And let's see if he ended up going spelunking on company time. All right, folks, let me know what you guys think. Any more comments? So Ivan would have done the same to Chelsea for Alexa as Jasenia did for Chris, as Chris did for Alana. Sounds about right. So perhaps Aaron did suspect that Ivan was being insincere. You know, everyone on this show is insincere until they're not. You know what I mean? It's like you can suspect somebody of being insincere, but it's like, yeah, they're on a dating show. They're going to look out for what's best for themselves, their brand, and everything in between. Speaking of which, Brendan Moraes, the story that never dies, responded to being fired by Nordic Track. That's the next video coming up. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, get all the alerts, like this video, leave a comment. Listen, what do you think about Ivan? Should he be kicked off or not? We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye now.